Hi, I'm Susanna Brisk, the sexual intuitive. And what that means is that I'm a coach and a healer. I'm also a certified sex educator. And I work with individuals and couples for almost a decade now, helping people get their needs met and identifying what's in the way of getting their needs met and teaching people how to manage their own energy to
Mm.
move that out of the way.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, not an advice giver, not a wizard, but, I do have a pretty strong intuitive power, and basically, I've reverse engineered that to help anyone tap into their intuition. It's really available for anyone.
I love that. I'm gonna call you a wizard if that's all right.
I'll
I
take
kinda
it,
want you
it's
to be a
fine.
wizard.
I'll take the robe. I would
Yeah.
like a big blue velvet robe with some
Me
kind of
too.
astrological stuff. Maybe next time you see me, I'll be wearing one.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I want the robe and the boots and then just walk around
Yes.
clomping. That would be my dream. Um, well, we have had a lot of changes, I guess, in our 20s, and Cass and I individually. And as life keeps moving on and we get older, our what am I trying to say? Our circumstances change. Um, Cass recently had a kid, and we want
Oh,
to
I
really
didn't
get in.
even know that.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this
Oh.
topic kind of hits home, and we'd really like to discuss sex after having a child.
Mhm.
So maybe we can kick it off with common misconceptions that are believed about sex after having a kid.
So the concerns with babies are different to the concerns with having a toddler in the house
Hmm.
or a tween in the house or a 7-year-old in the house or a teenager in the house,
Hmm.
right? So each period of parenthood really is an opportunity to redefine your sexuality and your partner redefining their sexuality and finding, the Venn diagram of the common ground of like stuff they're into, stuff you're into,
Mhm.
and what are you both into, right? And uh, so the biggest misconception, besides the fact that if you leave your kid for a minute, something terrible will happen to them, and that if you have sex while your children in the house, you're gonna damage them. I mean, those are the two big like kid related
Mhm.
misconceptions. But the misconceptions to do with like your actual libido or your erotic blueprint, as it were, is that you have kids and suddenly this idea that like all of a sudden nothing was working, all of a sudden the sex was bad. And from my personal experience, I have two kids. I have two sons, so they're not really kids anymore. They're giants, but they're still my babies, of course, always. But from my experience and also from working with, hundreds of people, I have noticed that there's no such thing as all of a sudden. Because if you're paying attention to energy, which is the unspoken agreements, the kind of visceral agreements under the surface of relationships, then things are usually boiling up for a while. And then by the time they boil over into the physical world,
Mhm.
it's already the stage is set, so to speak. So let me give you a quantum theory example and stop me if I'm going on too
No,
much.
please.
Because I tend to answer a question for a long time and then like the hour's up, you know what I mean? So basically so I'm not a physicist, but this is what's interesting. In quantum theory, if you throw some particles into a collider, they're going to behave in a predictable way. Okay. Now, as soon as you add extreme heat or extreme cold to those particles, they're going to behave in completely unexpected ways. And you're, as a scientist, going to have to come up with a new paradigm that explains this shift in the particle behavior. So I love an analogy. And
Yes.
to me, when I read about this, because I'm a total Wikipedia nerd, it really reminded me of sex because your sex particles or your uh, desires are heated up by extreme stress
Mhm.
and sleeplessness. And of course, the person who gives birth has all of the physical component of, okay, not only did I just go through something, but also my body is really different. I'm sort of finding out who I am again. And that previously reliable, sustainable sex life is no longer reliable and sustainable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's a very different to the kind of traditional view, which is like, oh, I don't know what happened. We had this great sex life and now we don't. It's like, no, because there was stuff before, but
Mm.
you were in the blissful childless state.
Mhm.
So you never had to worry about it, right? And then as soon as you increase the heat, suddenly those problems, just like any other challenges in the relationship, become much more glaring.
I love that analogy. It is
Thank you.
one, so validating. But also, I think the only piece of parenting advice that I, as a new parent, feel confident giving others is to deal with your shit before having a kid, because that kid will bring it to the surface no matter what it is. Like, my partner and I have so many things that we were like, that's dealt with, that's fine. No, it fucking wasn't. And now it is so much more intense. And now we have to care for another human being while also trying to sift through all of this mess that we have carried with us throughout our relationship. And so I love thinking about it that way, because it's like, of course, when you put it in these extreme scenarios, things are going to act unpredictably. So thank
Well,
you for
good for
that.
you, but good for you for sifting through it,
Yes.
because there are so many people who basically use the advent of children as kind of a excuse,
Mm,
that, okay, well, this is the relationship now, oh, I
Mhm.
guess we can't really communicate anymore. Oh, I guess we can't, do it anymore. I guess we can't be sexual beings anymore.
mhm.
It's like, I one time I was had a consult with a couple, and I was like, they were like, our kids are here, and I was like, how old are your kids? And they were like, in their 30s. The kids in their 30s were staying with them. I was like, so I see a door behind you in that bedroom. Does that door have a lock on it? And they were like, yeah. And it was like, but because it's sex, right? Because
Mhm.
it's the still such a weird taboo.
Mhm.
It's suddenly it's something so foreign, this idea. I mean, can you close the door and have a conversation? So then why can't you have an erotic conversation? So
Mhm.
I want to acknowledge you, Cass, that you're actually, it sounds like you're really taking the opportunity to like delve deeper into the relationship, which is going to be really, really rewarding for you. I promise, as the kids get older, you'll really see more and more out of doing that.
Thank you. I appreciate the validation. I guess my second piece of advice to anybody would be to have a really kick ass therapist. That's
Mm.
also really, really helpful. Um, yeah. Yeah.
Is Cass also is the validating part like hearing that things come up for you again after you have a kid, even though you thought you dealt with them?
Yeah, definitely.
Like it's not like a new problem. It's like, oh, I'm still having my old shit type of a thing.
Yeah, I think becoming a parent, there's so much worry around like, am I going to be a good parent? You know what I mean? And so it's like maybe part of the validation is in that, like, okay, this is just about me as a human. Like, I'm still working through my very human shit. It doesn't mean I'm a bad mom. It doesn't mean I'm a bad parent. It just means I'm still a human, just like I was before I
Mm.
brought this creature onto this weird fucking planet. Like,
Creature.
same. It's just, yeah, I think that is like the validating part. And yeah, any time that somebody can hit on like, yes, it is hard and yes, it is weird, it's just like, thank God, because it feels so fucking hard and weird, and all I see are these day in the life of the perfect stay-at-home mom, and it's like, I'm not her.
Well, that's the part really that this conversation obviously has to touch on, which is, it's the media's fault because they trick
Mm-hmm.
us into having these kids, and
Yes,
the
they do.
margarine commercials, and it's all about, it's always like the lady with her child and then the father looking, first of all, so heteronormative,
Mm-hmm.
the father looking at the woman adoringly as she looks at the child, and it's like we there is a part of us, no matter what age we have kids, I think, that that we're a little bit deluded by the social media as well, the projections. It's like those people have stylists. Those kids are styled. There is a team. They have 3 nannies. There's a team of people, and they hand the child to the celebrity right at the end. So, and this is what we're comparing ourselves to.